We also have hog market analysis this week with University of Missouri Extension economist Ron Plain. The USDA's quarterly hogs and pigs report counted the U.S. inventory of all hogs and pigs at 65.9 million head, 7% above a year ago but down slightly from December. Nebraska's total inventory was up 2%, its breeding inventory was up 5%, and its market inventory was up 1%. Friday, after this taping, the USDA was scheduled to release export numbers for February. We already know January was a bad month for shipments, as pork exports during the first month of 2015 were down 21% from the previous year. Lower market prices are threatening margins now for pig producers who enjoyed historic profits in 2014, but the charge for pork in the grocery store could also be falling. We talked with Ron Wednesday afternoon and began by asking for his thoughts on the March quarterly hogs and pigs report.
Few more market hogs than we expected. That's going to be bearish news for hog prices for the next 5 or 6 months. But the good news was farrowing intentions came in smaller, lower than expected, and so that gives us some hope for prices late this year and early 2016.
What kind of light does it shed on impacts of PEDV?
Well, the pigs per litter were up 6.2% during December, January, February compared to a year ago. That means PED death loss was just a small fraction of what we had a year ago. We were down 5.5% in pigs per litter in the winter of 13-14 and up 6% this year. So hopefully we'll continue to see those good numbers, and PED death losses will be a lot less than they were that first year we had it.
Any estimates in there that were indicative one way or the other of herd expansion?
Well, yes. Winter farrowings, December, January, February, up 2.4%. That wasn't really surprising. We made a lot of money in the hog business last year with record high hog prices, but spring farrowings up only 2.1%. And the big shock to me was summer farrowings down 1.1%. We're losing money in the hog business, but normally producers don't respond this quickly. But right now it looks like fewer sows will farrow this summer than last summer, and like I said, that gives us some optimism for hog prices late this year and early next year.
Yeah, tell me where market prices are right now, Ron.
Well, carcass prices around $55 per hundredweight on live weight basis, 43 at the tops, on down into the upper 30s at the terminal markets. We should see that improve seasonally. Hog prices tend to rally as we move from the first day of spring into early summer.
For the unfamiliar viewer, tell us where that stands compared to where that market used to be.
Well, hog prices the last several weeks have been half, actually a little bit less than half of where they were a year ago. So it's a whole different year profit-wise this year compared to 2014.
And can you go a little bit further on what that means for margins as we go through 2015?
Well, farm prices always move first, and then grocery store prices follow. We had a real sharp drop-off at the farm level. Grocery store prices are down a bit, but not a whole lot, and that leaves the margins between the farm gate and the consumer quite wide. In fact, record wide right now.
What do you expect for those meat prices in the grocery store?
Well, they should continue to decline. Hog prices aren't going to bounce a whole lot real soon, we don't think, and there's usually a month or two lag, so you should get a better buy in pork in grocery store meat case this month than last month, and probably a little bit better buy come May than what you're going to see for prices this month.
So a few weeks ago I had emailed you to double check the export numbers from January because they were down so much, and you said yes, that's accurate. What do you expect when we see those numbers later this week on February?
They're not probably going to be any better, Jeff. The dollar strengthened even more from January to February. We continued to have problems with moving pork out of the West Coast docks because of labor dispute. That's going to start getting better as here in April and May, but the February numbers on trade, we're going to be down a lot again, we're afraid.
So is that a significant threat to overall demand?
Well, yes, it is. We export 20% of the pork we produce, and when you're looking at 20% drop in exports year over year, that means a lot more pork has to be moved through the U.S. market, and you move that product, but you move it at a much lower price.
So is that a concern for the industry, or no, not yet?
Yeah, well, when your prices are half of what they were a year ago, there's lots of concerns for the industry. Yeah. But yes, hopefully we'll see that pick up as we move through April. The longshoremen have reached an agreement, and so we should move product to export faster. One of the other encouraging things, looks like weights are coming down. In fact, last week's live weights in barrels and gilts in Iowa, Minnesota was below year-ago levels for the first time in 2 years.
The next inventory report is slated for release the last Friday of June. The next look at meat prices will come Friday, April 17th.